Alright there guys, and happy White Day. Now you probably don't know what that means. Well, if you rewind about a month ago, it was Valentine's Day, wasn't it? And I made a video talking about Citrus, which is arguably the most popular Yuri anime of all time. And that video banged. It banged hard, over 600 views. That video has at the time of recording. By the time this video goes up, it might even have 700 plus views. That video just has done a madness. It's by far my most viewed video of 2024, whether I posted it in this year or not, in terms of how many views it's gained this year. And basically in Japan, Valentine's Day is when the girls do something for a guy that they like, and White Day, which is March 14th, exactly 1 month later, the guys do something for the girl, for either for the girl they like or for the girl that did something for them 1 month earlier. And quick side note, it's also the 5-year anniversary of when I got mugged. Just thought I'd mention it. So, in my journey venturing through the wacky world of Yuri anime this year, I've got another one for you. This time we're going to be talking about the anime Bloom Into You. This actually came out a lot more recently than I thought. I thought this was like a early to mid 2010 show. Now, this show came out in 2018. So, late 2010s. Okay, enough rambling. Let's get into it. So, it starts us off with our main character, who is called Yuu Kotio. And she has never experienced love before. As in, she's never felt it for another person, who's not in her family, obviously. And she got confessed to at the end of middle school by this guy, and she rejected him, not because she doesn't like him, but she just feels she can't have those feelings for anyone. Then her high school life starts, and she is asked by 2 of her friends, is she going to join any clubs? Because she was on the softball club when she was in middle school, but she doesn't really know what clubs to go for this time around, or even if she's going to go for any. She even thinks maybe she'll try the student council. So she goes looking for the the people who are already members of the student council, and she overhears a girl being confessed to by a guy. And she rejects him, of course, but for very similar reasons that Yuu rejected the guy from her middle school. Not because she doesn't necessarily like the guy, but because she doesn't feel like that towards anyone. This happens to be student council member Toko Nanami. And she is our other, I guess, main character for the series. So Yuu introduces herself to Nanami, and they start getting into some of the student council duties. And the student council room is like a completely separate room from the school. You actually have to leave the school building in order to reach the student council room. It's through like a set of trees. It's almost like you're walking through the woods to go from the school to the student council. It looks really, really nice. And as Nanami is introducing all of the student council duties to you, later on things happen, and Yuu tells Nanami that she can't feel that way about anyone, and she feels that she relates to Nanami because she also feels that way. Yeah, apart from she doesn't feel that. It's not entirely the same, because by the end of episode 1, yes, the very first episode, Nanami confesses her love to Yuu. It's like, wow, you took a 180. At the start of the episode, you couldn't feel that way about anyone. Suddenly, you feel it about Yuu, and you've only just met her. If you thought that was quick, we're given ourselves a nice little kiss scene between the two of them in the second episode. They get things moving real quick in this show. None of this will they, won't they? They just, as Bill would say in The Last of Us, get on with it. So Nanami tells you not to fall in love with her, which seems a bit weird. Why would you tell the person that you love not to do the same thing back? But the reason that she says this is because she doesn't actually like the type of person that she is. She actually wants to be a lot more like her late sister, Mio. So as time goes on, the two of them spend a lot of time together in the student council room, doing regular student council duties and other non-student council related duties, if you know what I mean. We get some more scenes of the two of them making out. One of the guys, who also joined the student council, happens to catch them in the act, but he doesn't say anything. He just likes teasing you about it. And he says something a bit later on that actually makes quite a lot of sense to me, at least. He says that he also, in the same way that Yuu doesn't have those feelings towards anyone, he doesn't either. He prefers to stand back and watch other people's love and romance from the side. Because I've thought about it, and I'm kind of like that. Like, I haven't tried to pursue... I haven't tried to pursue love for like a good 5 years now. Have not been interested in trying to pursue it at all. I'm very content with watching other people have their happiness from the sidelines. So yeah, I relate to that guy quite a bit, at least for that one scene. But Nanami is not the only person in the fray for herself and you. There's a third person. Nanami's oldest friend, Sayaka. Turns out, she is also in love with Nanami, but she never actually tells her, and that never gets revealed to Nanami herself. It's just something that we all know, but the only person that actually needs to know it doesn't know it. So the student council decide to start setting up a play, a completely original play as well. And the only reason they're doing this because the school hadn't actually done this for 7 years, because when Nanami's older sister passed away through a freak and tragic car accident, the play was completely cancelled from the school and it was never done again. But Nanami wants to essentially become her older sister, fill the void that her older sister left, rather than being her own person. So you could say one of the themes of this show is self-identity, and how Nanami struggles with that. So she puts on this perfect act of being someone that she isn't. So the student council get to work on working out what type of play they're going to do, and this is where Yu asks her friend Koyomi, who's been writing novels and been asking Yu to have a read through them. This is where Yu asks Koyomi to write the script for this play. So she decides to base the characters off the actual people who are going to be acting in the play, which is all of the student council members. And they really built up this play as some sort of really big event. They really built this play up. They even went to this coffee shop quite a number of times, sometimes just for the sake of it, and sometimes to do some thinking about the play. And the owner of the store, she happens to be dating one of the teachers from their school. And yes, with this being a Yuri show, it's another lesbian relationship. So we actually have two going on. The main character one, and then another one a little bit off to the side. And again, one thing, at least in anime, that I talked about this not last year, but the year before, back in 2022. Anime doesn't make a big deal out of same-sex relationships. Anime treats same-sex relationships as just any other relationship. It doesn't put any special emphasis on it as positive or negative. It just treats it like it's a male plus female relationship. It doesn't treat it any differently, which is how it should be, because that's how equality works. So they even go on this study camp to really practice for this play. And Nanami is feeling a bit conflicted due to the fact that Yu has told her not to be like her older sister and be her own person, but Nanami just can't let that go. And in the end, the final episode has Yu and Nanami go to an aquarium. And the place was called Aqua World, so I'm thinking, we're going to see a ton of useless goddesses. What? It's called Aqua World. So I'd expect to see a lot of Aqua. Speaking of that, Konosuba Season 3 starts airing next month, so that's very, very exciting. Those four lovable idiots are finally returning after 7 years. Well, 5 if you count the movie, 1 if you count the Megumin spin-off, but 7 if you're only counting the seasons. And the show ends with Yu and Nanami enjoying themselves at the aquarium. The stage play that the student council was putting on doesn't actually happen. It never actually plays out. So I was quite a bit disappointed with that. Because you spent 3 to 4 episodes building this play up. So I expect it to be in the final episode. That's the very last thing we see, one of the last things we see in the show. But it just doesn't happen. They never show it. And there isn't a season 2 of this show, and I don't know if there's an OVA. I don't think there is. So we don't ever get to see the full production of the stage play. Which is my only really big criticism of the show. It's not the most wholesome show you've ever seen, but it's nothing like Citrus. There's no family dynamics. There's none of that. You don't have to worry about any incest. None of that. Don't worry. But yeah, I found it was an interesting concept, having one of the one of the characters who's in love with the other one telling that other one not to fall back in love with her. Doesn't quite make any sense. Yu spends a lot of time trying not to fall in love with Nanami because that's what she's asking, but I get the feeling that towards the end of the show, she probably does, even if she never actually says it to her. But yeah, that is the second well, technically it's the third if we're counting last week's video. That is the third of my adventure through the wacky world of Yuri anime. Are we done with it? Are we done with covering Yuri shows this year? Nope. I've got at least 2 more in mind coming on a bit, but those won't be until a little bit later on in the year. Like, maybe end of spring, start of summertime. But that's going to be the end of the video. I hope you guys have enjoyed. If you have, please be sure to leave a like, subscribe if you're new, and until next time, farewell.